Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. Brian's Amazing World. Today we are working on our 1990 Jeep Wrangler here, and it is a beautiful November day and we don't have heat in this Jeep. The blower motor went, so we have no heat and no defroster, and it's kind of a little bit of a pain in the butt to change the blower motor as well as the heater core in this Jeep. I believe the heater core is still fine, it's just that the switch doesn't work for the blower, so you turn it on and nothing happens. Needless to say, we have to pull pretty much the dash apart and the shroud and all that, the heating duct work to get to what we need to get to. So let me show you, I guess we'll start here. Why don't you pop that side there and we'll get this open. Here, hold that a second. Okay, let me get this in here. Good enough. Set it down. Now, actually what we should do is flip that all the way up to help you. The screws that you're going to need to use to get the heater assembly out are usually back under here. There's a couple bolts down there, nuts. There's another one here, and they're hidden about. There's probably another one over there that's already loosened. Now that'll enable you to get this whole box out of here. Now it'd be nice if all you had to do is take this cover off here to get to your blower motor. Sure, here's where it is. But the problem is that blower motor is accessed from the other side. So you need to take this whole assembly out, and it's not the easiest thing to get out. Sometimes you want to take the dash out a little bit so you can pull it apart and get in there. But well, once we do that, all we should have to do is turn the switch back on and our heat will work. That's at least the plan. So we're gonna dig in here and start pulling this apart. And it does work easier if you take your battery out, because you're going to have to get, I mean, you can see this bolt back here. I believe that's one of them also. And it takes a little while playing with it, figuring out which one is it that we actually have to get this thing out. And, well, once we have it apart, you also have to take off both of these lines for your heater core. They're going to be full of antifreeze, so you have to accommodate that. And while we have that out, we'll flush that out and blow it out and make sure that's working well. Now's usually a good time to change it if it's already bad, but I believe ours is working. We have some heat, it's just no fan, so that's our issue with this. So stick around, we'll keep on moving, and we'll show you how we get this done. Okay, at this stage of the game, we have our two heater hoses disconnected, and we have all our nuts and bolts, at least I think all of them, all the way around. There's one behind the distributor, one over there, and two down below. Very difficult to get to sometimes, but dig around. I'm sure we're missing one somewhere. Now we're ready to start yanking and pulling on this whole assembly here. Make sure you disconnect your thermostat up there. That's just for that. Here, why don't you hold this, and I would show in here and see if we can get this to pull in onto the inside. This might come with that though. No, it's moving separate. Let's see. Maybe it'll pop out of there, maybe it won't. Still hanging on to something here. I don't know
what. I can see what.
You see something?
Right here, honey. I don't know if...
What's that?
Right here.
It's hanging on that edge. Oh, a zip tie. Look at that. One stupid zip tie. Will that come around there? Yeah. Save that clip. Good observation. See, this is why you need a partner to help you do this stuff. You can see what's really wrong. Catch all the things you miss. Not that I ever miss anything. There we go. Alright, come back here maybe. Maybe you can see what we're working with here. Now that we have this down, okay. The disconnect is from the defroster up there. And now we can just about get to the motor on the back side of this. There's some antifreeze dripping inside. Crap. Alright, let me get a rag to clean that up before it makes a mess. But now we can get to the back of the blower motor and change that blower motor out. And that's what we're after to begin with. So it's a little bit of work, a little struggle, but we have it. And now we just have to put it all back together. I don't know, it's kind of tricky. But okay, well, we have our whole heater box out, and the heater core is inside here. So if you have to change this, you take this apart here. what we're gonna do is we are gonna clean this and flush this whole thing out, just because any mice that may have gotten in here and other things through the years, it'd be nice to get rid of them, clean out their, you know, their crap. But we did notice why this isn't working. When we pulled it apart, we noticed there's no wires to this old blower motor. So, upon investigating in here, I don't know where they are. So that's probably why we had no heat and the blower motor didn't work, is because there's no wire hooked up to it. So thanks again to the previous owner for that project. No reason. And of course you have to pull this whole thing apart just to figure that out. And luckily we only paid 10 bucks for the other blower motor at a junkyard, so we're really not out anything anyway. And it probably works fine. We'll figure it out once we get power and figure out which wire it is, but we'll pull out the trusty manual and start digging, doing our wire chasing. And it's probably running the radio. That sounds about right. Let's tap this wire and use it for power for the radio. Doesn't that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, so follow along and we'll dig in and I'll let you know where we make out here. So after checking out our trusty book, we found we need an orange wire with a white stripe. And somewhere up in here, we have to dig through this and find out where that is. And hopefully that still has power and is still hooked up. And that will solve our problem. We shall see. Okay, well, you're not going to believe this one, but after doing some investigative work, we traced our orange wire with the white stripe here, and basically the previous owner just cut a bunch of the wires here. I guess they no longer needed the computer-controlled stuff for the old engine that was in here, figuring they put a 305 in it, which gladly we ripped out and put a nice Monster 350 in here. But needless to say, they hacked the wire that runs the blower motor, so now we need to run a wire from here over to our blower, and we should have power and it should work. Here, why don't you hold this a minute? I will flick the blower switch. If you watch that voltmeter, we should have power when we flick the switch. There you go. All of a sudden we have power to that. I bet you that's all it is with this switch. Yep, as I flick the switch. There we go. So it's working. We're good to go. Now let's make a wire and run it over and we'll have heat. All right, well, now you flick the switch, you hear the fan come on, and it's working. So we lucked out. We have heat and we have a defroster now. And all we had to do is run our wire across, down over to the blower motor there, and tap into our source here, which runs off the switch. So we solved that problem, and now we got to put it back together and finish it up. In the meantime, your heater hoses, go into your heater core, clean that out, make sure that's working good and flowing well, and clean your box out so you don't have any mouse crap in there. Nothing's worse than that, but overall, you'll have heat in the defroster for winter, and suddenly the Jeep is a whole lot better and more comfortable. But thanks a lot, Mr. Brian's Amazing World. You like and subscribe. Check out our Jeep. I mean, we have a heck of a modified 350 in here. We did a showcase on that. A bunch of other videos. We put an 8.8 rear end in this thing, and she is almost all done and ripping, kind of doing the final little tweaks right now. But thank you very much. You have a great day.